This is Moreh Robert B. Holman Jr. and
Moreh, Shawn Appleton.
And this is
Hebrews in Exile. Sir?
Yes, sir.
How are you?
I'm great.
We back at it one more.
One more again.
One more again, just to tell you like it TIE is.
Yep, one more again.
I had a question I wanted to ask you straight out. I've been contemplating this as I've been finishing up my series on Melech David. There was I'm going through and I'm finishing this piece, and I'm getting to the end where we're in First Kings, and that's where we're going to end up. I said I was going to finish up in Second Shemuel, but actually David's death happens in the second chapter of First Kings.
Yes.
And as I'm going through there, you know, I'm doing my research and I'm looking at some things, and on the algorithm, you know, me and this algorithm with YouTube, as you roll your eyes, they always throwing up stuff on the side. And so there was let's just say a Christian woman, and she was talking, and she was kind of explaining her life story, and she could swear up and down that God was going to answer her prayer. God was going to listen to her because she was a good person. What say you when someone comes up to you and says, I've never heard of this thing that you call being Hebraic, and I don't prescribe to being Hebrew, but I'm a good person. What does that mean?
It means a lot. It means a lot if that can be validated from a person's heart.
Okay.
There are a lot of people on the face of the earth that are not, quote, quote, religious. They shy away from religion, obviously, for good reason.
Okay.
There are a plethora of religions, and within the framework of Christianity has so much garbage in it that the majority of people who call themselves that, either they don't portray it, or the ones you have to decipher which is greater, those that let me use a word. I'm gonna use a Hebrew term.
Okay.
To get to this.
All right.
The Most High says to us, do not profane my name.
True. This is true.
Okay, now, to the average individual, that means you don't say God damn it.
Right. Yeah.
In that phraseology, because they think that's profaning his name. That does not profane the Father's name.
Right.
So let me explain what profaning someone's name is. The bus who played running back, fullback for the Pittsburgh Pirates gave his Hall of Fame speech.
Pittsburgh Steelers.
Pittsburgh Steelers. Yeah, Pittsburgh Steelers.
Right.
Gave his Hall of Fame speech, and his family was there, and his son was there.
Jerome Bettis. The bus, yes.
And he said to his son, he said, listen, he said, there is one thing that's important that I'm giving you, and that's my name. And it's up to you to uphold the name of Harris. Oh, I can think Harris.
But Bettis. Jerome Bettis.
Jerome Bettis, yes. Jerome. He says, it's up to you, son, to uphold the name of the family.
Okay.
What he's saying to him is, when you act outside of the purview of what this name means,
Mm-hmm.
and you act indifferent to it, that people see that's not the way your father spoke, that's not the way your father lived, then he says you are defaming or you are profaning our name.
Right. Okay.
I'm giving you something that's good. I'm giving you our name.
Mm-hmm.
So now when we get to the Father says in text, do not profane my name. He says in text, you, Israel, have profaned my name amongst the nations. Why? By acting indifferent
Okay.
to what it is that I have asked you to live. You're not living according to anything that I've laid down. You have blasphemed my name. You have made my name a bad amongst the nations.
Okay.
That's what profaning the Father's name is all about. Now, within the structure of religion, and particularly the Christian religion, there is often said and often asked when Christians are out amongst people and they act indifferent to the way the world thinks that Christians are supposed to live, since you all proclaim that you're so holy.
Mm-hmm.
They ask this question when things don't look just quite right.
Right.
I thought you were a Christian.
Right. They do say that. Yeah.
So what they're saying to you is you're profaning what you're saying that you are.
Right.
Because you're not I don't see that. I don't see that character. I don't see that functionality in you now.
Okay.
So I thought you were a Christian.
Mm.
What they're saying to you is you're profaning what you claim to be.
Okay.
Now, there are a lot of people, because of that profaning attitude, do not want to have anything to do with religion.
Because it seems hypocritical.
Yeah, and there are two things in this world that will divide a family:
Sure. Politics and
religion.
into religion. Yeah.
Okay, so they stay on the neutral side of not wanting to be involved in a religion. So let me put in a plug right here. Let me take a pause to put in a plug.
Okay. We're going to take a side quest.
When we talk about being Hebrew and being in the Hebraic way, we're not talking about a religion.
Right.
We're talking about a way of life.
Yes, a lifestyle.
Because the Most High didn't give us a religion. Religions are the construct of man.
Mm-hmm.
Because man thinks that he is smarter than the Most High, that he can take a sidebar from the Most High and develop his own religion based upon concepts
Mm-hmm.
of the way of life.
Yes. Okay.
So what they've done is they've taken the way of life theocracy.
Mm-hmm.
Theo means God. A theocracy. They've taken the concept of theocracy and they've diluted it, or they've changed it and they sprinkled it with their own ideas and come up with this thing that's called a religion.
Mm.
So a lot of people shy away from religion, but that does not make them a bad person.
Okay.
So when we look at people from the construct of their heart, they're benevolent, they're kind, they're their there's a word I'm looking for. I can't form it in my mind. They're good
Okay.
and they have good character,
Okay.
and you can depend upon them.
All right.
And all of that comes out of their heart.
Okay.
Out of the abundance of the heart doth the mouth speak. So we have amongst us, and the Most High recognizes that while I have given you these laws and these rules for Hebrew Israel to live by, and for Hebrew Israel to teach the nations to live by, he knows that there are people in the world that he has created who are never ever going to hear, or never ever going to understand the necessity or the need to walk in that kind of theological premise.
So, okay, so I got to challenge that for a second.
Okay.
In what capacity would, in this day and age, that a person is not exposed to the Most High?
Well, here's the problem. It's not a matter of being exposed to the Most High, because you have two issues that you have to get to a man's understanding.
Okay.
And that is, people have a cognitive understanding of the Most High, but they don't have an experiential knowledge. So without the experiential knowledge, it's just knowledge that's there, but it hasn't come to a point of functionality where I really can grasp it, or whether I really understand it, or even if I really do want to.
Let's say, just use your example. Say, for instance, you're aware cognitively of open heart surgery, but you don't have the experiential knowledge of actually doing it. But in the same instance, you're still aware that open heart surgery is something. It's not something that and it goes back to your explanation on ignorance, to say, okay, I'm aware of it. I'm ignorant to the fact of how to carry it out. There's two different kinds of ignorance. But, and in this particular instance, I'm saying that they're still aware. And the reason I'm challenging this is because I guess I took a harder stance with it. Because I have people that I come in contact with, colleagues that don't prescribe to being Hebraic, Christian. As far as they're concerned, they don't prescribe to anything. But they are people that would consider themselves good. And my harder stance is to say, well, if the Most High, it controls everything, and we are viewing everything through the guise and through the glasses of the Most High, then how can I call that person good? When that person goes ahead and behaves in a way that's contrary to the Most High, that person has a diet that is contrary to what's in text. That person has a lifestyle that is in violation of the sexual immorality laws, but they got a good heart. They're kind. How can you call that person good where they're clearly in violation of the text?
Well, I look at it in this context, because we have to deal with what we call the nations.
Okay.
The nations are filled with people who don't know any better. They don't even know that they're in violation of anything.
Okay. Yeah, you could say that. Yeah.
they're not exposed to understanding the laws and the rules that the Most High has given to Hebrew Israel in terms of a lifestyle to operate by. They don't even know that anything about dietary laws because they're born into a society where things are the norm. And there's nothing that challenges that norm that says that the norm is bad. So they're operating under a they're operating under a mindset that the things that they're doing is okay. So in their mind, which I can't disagree with them, based upon the norm of society, they're functioning within a purview that says what you're doing is okay. And in other words, here's what I'm not hurting anybody. And
True.
while
Okay.
I'm not hurting anybody, also I show benevolence and I show kindness to a person. I treat humanity with the decency of humanity. There's only one thing that the Most High will take a nation out for, completely take them out for.
Mm-hmm.
One thing. And that's when you treat humanity in a way that abuses who humanity is and what he has created. He will take you smooth out.
Okay.
Let's take an example. Let's look at a scriptural example that we can look at
Sure.
in that perspective. When the Most High decided that his nation Israel was no longer pleasing to him, walked in his ways, that he should allow them to live in the land,
Mm-hmm.
he caused a nation from the north, which was Babylon, to come and get them and take them into Babylonian captivity.
Mm-hmm.
When we read in the prophet Ezekiel, the Most High is very distraught over how the Babylonians treated his people in exile, to this extent, and I'm paraphrasing.
Okay.
When I gave you, Babylon, the consent to go get my people and take them into Babylonian captivity, I did not intend for you to treat them the way you treated them.
Okay.
Therefore, there is retribution for that. I'll take you smooth out.
Okay.
Nothing else matters. Oh,
True. Okay.
Assyria did the same thing. And he took them smooth out.
All right.
So when we look at all the things that the nations do that violate what we understand from a Torah perspective,
Mm-hmm.
we have to realize that they don't know these laws. Now, what you'll hear from a lot of people, they'll tell you, well, I know there is a supreme being. I
Sure.
believe that there is a supreme being.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who that is. And if you come at them with a religious response, they'll turn you off because they don't want to be involved with religion. Based on
Agreed.
what they've seen religion does.
Okay.
Now, we're in another catch-22 with what we do.
Okay.
Because when we tell them we're Hebrew, based upon what they've seen and what they've heard from people that claim to be Hebrew, that's definitely something they don't want to be involved with.
Yeah, definitely. There's a negative image that's
You see,
portrayed.
so when a person tells me that, well, if you tell me that you're a good person, the only way that I can know that you're a good person is by the demonstration of the fruit that you share, that you bear towards how you treat humanity.
Okay.
Because the thing about it is, the Most High is concerned, deeply concerned, about how you treat what I created.
This is true. Not to say that I'm struggling. I like the perspective that you've explained. Even with inside Hebrew Israel, we can say again, there's a mitzvot that says, hey, listen, if you're naive to something and you've been doing something out of compliance, then once it's been made aware to you, then you are guilty of it. This is where I guess my perspective on looking at this whole entire thing.
No, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not. Once you come, say it again. Once you come, what?
I said, if you're in violation of something,
Yeah.
and you're unaware of it,
Yes.
and you've been made aware of it, now I'm telling you that you're in violation of the law.
Okay.
Then you say now you become guilty. You're still guilty of it. And so now you're not guilty of it, but you become aware of it. You're guilty of it. Whether or not you kind of know about it or not, it's been brought to your attention. Now you have to deal with the atonement that comes with it. But the greater issue here, I guess this is what I'm looking at, is the more of a semantic issue, because I'm listening to you explain this, and and this is where I'm disagreeing. Let me just
Okay.
say where I'm disagreeing. I think what you're describing, to me, in my opinion, is, again, I have to look at it from a Hebraic standpoint. I cannot look at a person from the spectacle of the Most High and say that the person is good, because I have to evaluate them based on what the Most High said, what is good and righteous. I can say to that person, you're a moral and ethical person because you have exuded kindness, which is morality. You've exuded all these things that are the definition of what that particular behavior pattern is, but you're not good, because goodness is defined by what's in the law.
Okay. I'll buy that.
So
I'll buy that.
So okay. So
I'll buy that.
so that's what I'm saying.
But here's the point of your argument.
Okay. Ooh, didn't hit the mic.
And I have to go across the street to get this text.
Okay.
But going across the street to get this text is across the street is taken out of our writings in Leviticus concerning the various sacrifices that are offered.
Mm-hmm.
Across the street says, once you've come to the knowledge of the truth, now knowledge, there therefore remains no further sacrifice for error or sin.
Right.
Now the issue is coming to the knowledge of it. Knowledge is represented, as I mentioned earlier, in two categories. One is cognitive knowledge, and the other is experiential knowledge.
Sure.
So now, what I've done is I've made you aware of something. You have received the information from a cognitive perspective, but it hasn't resonated with you from an experiential perspective. Therefore, it's hanging out there. Because once I come to the experiential knowledge, now I've taken this into where I own it. Once I take knowledge into where I own it, now I'm responsible, and now I'm going to be held accountable. Until that, it's just It's just knowledge. It's knowledge without any action. It's knowledge without any experience. You made me aware of it, but I haven't processed it in my mind that makes it cognitive or makes it experiential for me. It's like, yeah, I'm not there. Now, if I look at the four offerings that are written in the book of Vayikra, Vayikra deals with the issue of making offerings in which you do things that you forgot, you didn't know, or that I just didn't know this was wrong, but if I know it from an experiential perspective and I sin, now there's no offering I can offer.
Okay.
So just because I've told somebody this doesn't mean that they processed it in their mind to understand it, to be able to accept it.
Case in
The
point.
eyes of our understanding have not been opened. Now we have a problem.
Okay.
Because if I look at the nations and I look at Isaiah chapter 2 and verse 3, he says, now, many peoples is inclusive of humanity. Many peoples will go and say, come, let's go up to the mountain of Yahweh, to the house of the Elohim of Yaakov, for he will teach us his ways. There are many people that are in this world that are going to be a part of the redemptive stage, that are going to have this opportunity to go up and learn what Torah and what the instructions of the Most High are. Those people that are going to have an opportunity to do that, in the mind of the Most High, as he defines their worthiness to be accepted to go into this redemption,
Okay.
I call those individuals good enough to go. Just like they were good enough to go to leave Mitzrayim, but they weren't good enough. You know what? Let me tell you something. Do you realize that when we talk about when we talk about the redemptive period and the numbers of people that are going to be redeemed in the redemptive period, let's parallel that with Mitzrayim. There were over 600,000 men, not including women and children, and the other people that left Mitzrayim going to the promised land.
Okay.
But of that number that left, only I don't know what the number was, that made it into Jerusalem, but it wasn't the number that left.
True. That's true. Yeah.
Now,
not all of them made it.
Now,
correct.
Now and remember, everybody that left with Hebrew Israel out of Mitzrayim was a mixed multitude.
Sure.
They left not having an understanding of Torah.
Right. So the Most High had to prepare them.
So what did he take? He took his children out.
Yeah.
And those that went with him had to be good enough in their mind and thought says that he was willing to take them into the wilderness to be able to instruct them. Now, stay with me.
Okay.
I said that the Most High took a plethora of people out of Mitzrayim into the Promised Land. But before they got to the Promised Land, there was a number of people that died in the wilderness.
That's true.
The day of redemption brings about a number of people that are going to be redeemed out of this world into the land. But those that are redeemed out of this world into the land, only 1/3 are going to the Promised Land.
That's right. Based upon
their coming to a knowledge and an understanding, experiential understanding, to walk in the ways of the Most High.
which makes you good.
Yes, I agree. But here's my point. Here's the issue. The issue becomes one, am I good enough?
But see, that's the thing. Is
See,
that we're evaluating this from our perspective.
Am I a person that's good enough to be included with the many peoples? Because the many peoples here does not have a criteria on it.
And okay, so the many peoples, they had to be groomed in the wilderness. I'm saying the whole entire set, the mixed multitude, and all of them.
No.
Moshe gave them the law.
Stop.
Okay.
Stop. You missed the point. Isaiah chapter 2, verse 3 is not talking about Israel and the wilderness. It's talking here about many peoples. And that many peoples does not have a criteria.
That's not what I'm talking about. I understand what you're saying. I'm saying the criteria has to be based on the law.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
And I'm saying the reason that third makes it in there is because of the law. You're good because of that.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
And until you get to that point, you're not good.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm only defending the person who does not have the knowledge based upon the norms that he's living in and under to understand and know what you're talking about. He doesn't know anything about that. I know that there is a superior or a supreme being. I know that. I know that I am a moral person.
Okay.
And I know that I treat humanity with respect. And I know that I love what the Most High has created, what God has created. But I don't know anything about this God that you're talking about. And I'm going through my life because you religious people have turned me off, and I don't really want to have anything to do with you.
That's not my problem.
No. See,
that's not my problem. If you have been exposed to that, and you know, and you're professing it out of your mouth, and you can sit there and say,
exposed to what?
You've been exposed. If you're saying that, okay, I have the experience, I know that there's a power.
Yes.
That's experiential knowledge.
Yes.
That's an election that you have decided not to seek that out. All that precursor, all that framework is blocks that says, you know what? I'm using religion as my crutch, as to not seek out any further information on that higher power, to understand what good is.
No, I disagree.
Okay. See, I'm getting wrapped up into the semantics of the word.
I disagree on this basis. I don't even know to do that.
How would you not know?
I don't even know to do that. I don't. And you know, I run. And you know, I like you. I run across in my number of years of working and being around in a workforce of people that were quote not saved like me.
Mm-hmm.
And listening to their various conversations and their reasoning, I believe in I believe in a higher power,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't at this point know where, or have I inquired as to where to go to seek out any information about that higher power, but I know there exists one. And no, I don't go to church because here's the problem with this whole discussion.
Okay.
This whole discussion is based upon the fact that a person has to go to church in order to gain knowledge about the Creator. Well, we know that that's not true.
That's correct.
But
yeah.
for the norm of most people,
Mm-hmm.
I'm dealing with a young man now,
Okay.
and I asked him the question. I said, "So, why are you going to church?" He says, "Well, because I want to formulate a relationship with God." I said, "So you're going to church in order to form a relationship with God?" That's the mindset of most people. Because most people don't understand, you don't have to go to church to formulate a relationship with the Most High.
I like that.
So now, if you're gonna tell me I don't need to go to church to form a relationship with the Most High,
Yeah.
then how do I do that?
Pick the book up and read it. Start from the beginning and read it. Most people, when they do their study, they're not doing it in church. When you go back and you do your little Bible study or whatever, you're in the confines of a safe place of your house and
But
you're
you see,
doing study.
I hear you. I hear that, but that's not the norm.
And see, that's what I'm saying. I guess I'm a little harder because I'm not giving people a pass for their apathy of not trying to seek out the Most High. And I'm not saying that you are. I'm not saying that you are. I know you're looking at me crazy.
No,
I'm holding people to a higher
No,
standard.
I'm looking at
I am
this,
not.
I'm looking at this
Oh,
board.
you look at the screen. I'm not. We're defining. Okay. Do you think Jeffrey Dahmer thinks he's good?
Hold on a minute. Trey, are you seeing what's on the board? Yeah. Well, that needs to go bye-bye.
What's good? What, okay.
That. Oh my goodness.
We got trolls in there.
Yeah, we have a troll. We have a troll in our chat.
We got a troll in the chat room.
That needs to go. He needs to go bye-bye.
You got the you.
Okay.
You can just probably just shut the chat down then.
He don't know how.
You don't know how? Oh, okay. We got clowns in there tonight, huh?
I'm sorry, sir, but we are completely Hebrew, and there is unequivocally, you're breaking up my podcast discussion tonight, being in my chat room. There is positively, unequivocally, no scripture text in the Hebrew writings that prescribes to Yeshua or Jesus Christ being the Savior of mankind, or even the King of Israel. If you really had a clear understanding of what you're saying, you could go and begin looking at the genealogy of the birth of this man in the book as Luke writes it, and you will find that, number one, he doesn't come from the tribe of Judah, so he can't be a king.
That's right.
The text says that every man that sins must die for his own sins. That's written in the Hebrew scriptures. The Most High didn't go to sleep after 400 years and then wake up and then have a European nation such as Greece and Rome write a document for him that speaks diabolically against everything that he said. So you'd be doing me a favor and our listeners a favor by simply removing yourself from our chat room since that's not working.
Oh wow. Yeah, we got too much. Yeah, go get the book. Go pick up In Defense of the Messiah. Go read that. It's on Amazon.
I hate to you're breaking into our whole discussion tonight. Isaiah chapter 7 about a virgin is not about Mary. It's about Isaiah and his wife. If you go read the pretext, you'll understand that, but you have not done that. If you go read Isaiah chapter 52, you will know that the Most High is talking about his servant Israel, who happens to be the suffering servant that he begins to have a conversation with in Isaiah chapter 53. You would understand that. But you're of a Greek mindset trying to pontificate Greek thought into a Hebraic theology, and that's like oil and water. They don't mix. And I want to tell you that the Hebrew text is oil. It's never going to mix with anything weak like water.
Excellent. Excellent. Excellent.
Thank you. Good luck, and I'll see you at the gate, my dear children. Thank you. It won't be the gate of heaven. Right. If you see me at all, you'll see me in the land of Israel, where the Most High has indicated that his people are going to go to. Nobody is going to die and going to heaven. Psalms 19 or 100, no, Psalms 19 or 20, forgetting which one it is, says that heaven is my throne and earth is my footstool. Yeah. There's nobody going to die and going to heaven. Secondly, to that issue, we have John on the Isle of Patmos who has a vision. He saw that I saw that there was a new heaven and a new earth descending out of heaven into the earth. So all you people going to heaven, you're going to be up there in the stratosphere floating around, because heaven and earth is going to be down here on this earth, and for which that the Most High has provided for Israel in his text, that I am going to disperse you to the four corners of the earth, and from there I am going to bring you back to Jerusalem, which is land.
That's right.
We are not Greek. We are not Romanistic. We are Hebrew people. If you come into our chat room, you must come into our chat room to learn something. And if you're not here to learn, then just excuse yourself.
Okay. Just threw the whole entire thing off. My.
Now, getting back to this whole issue of good. A person can see himself as being good within the framework of the norms of the society that he lives in. And that's the only criteria that he has.
That's true. That's very true.
A person can not have any clue in his mind at all about life after death.
Mm-hmm.
And may not realize that the Most High has provided the nations or peoples with an opportunity to know and understand, grasp, and learn.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know that.
Right.
There's only two people in text that's written in the book of Daniel that will never see, well, he defines those that will see the light of day and those that will not. Daniel says, I looked and I saw that the books were open, and he defines for us the book of the righteous and the book of the wicked.
Yep.
Wicked people are defined in two classifications of how the Most High defines wicked people. The first classification of a wicked person is an individual who knows, I can't say knows to do good and doeth it not. I can't use that phrase because good can be defined in different schools of thought in terms of what that means.
Mm-hmm.
So a wicked person in the eyes of the Most High is an individual who knows to walk in Torah and does not. To him, not only does he call him wicked, but in Proverbs he calls him a fool.
Right.
The second factor of a wicked person and a wicked nation are individuals who have no regard at all for what the Creator has created in terms of humankind, and treats humankind in a way in which that to them another man is nothing, and he treats them that way. Those people are defined as wicked. They will never see the light of day.
Okay.
The righteous man or the righteous are those who understand the mitzvot, the instructions and the teachings of the Most High, and they walk in those.
Okay.
So now we have, let me use the phraseology that comes out of the book of Daniel.
Okay.
We want Daniel. Where are you, Daniel? Always looking for you, and I never do find you. And there you are, right there. In Daniel 12.
Woo.
Let's go there for a minute.
Okay. Daniel 12.
Daniel 12 talks about, in verse 2, it says that many of those sleeping in the dust of the earth will awaken, some to everlasting life and some to everlasting shame and abhorrence.
Yep.
But those who can discern will shine like the brightness of heaven's dome, and those who turn many to righteousness like the stars forever and ever. So you have these people that are going to be in the dust. They're going to be awakened to everlasting, some to everlasting shame, and some to abhorrence. Now, while I look at this particular text, shame and abhorrence, he doesn't say that they're going to be awakened to immediate destruction.
That's right.
He says they're going to be awakened to shame and abhorrence.
Yeah.
Now, being awakened and awakened in the land, what's going to shame me and what's going to be the abhorrence is that when I awaken in this state, I'm going to have an opportunity to reverse this shame and this abhorrence by being in the land, going up to Jerusalem, and learning the mitzvot of the Most High so that I can make the cut. Now, I told you earlier, Hebrew Israel coming out of Mitzrayim, a lot of them didn't make the cut going into the Promised Land.
True.
And I look at that now in light of the same thing that Zechariah says, well, I'm bringing a bunch of you people out, but only 1/3 of you is going to make everlasting life. So when I look at people who say that they're good and they're good people, I recognize them within the cognitive understanding of the norm that they live in. I give them a pass because the ultimate decision of their end of days is not mine to judge, because I cannot judge the heart of an individual. The Most High says, I know the heart, and I try the reins of the heart. So I can't judge the end of an individual's lifespan when I'm not the one who gives life to him. I know what Scripture says. I know what the Most High is going to do. I know that He's going to judge the heart. I know He's going to try the reins of the heart. And I know He's going to make a decision concerning those that do and those that don't.
Agreed. Agreed.
Would I like for them? Would I like for them to have a positive, affirmative desire to know? Well, I know there's a creator. Well, would you want to know something about him? Well, yeah. Well, why don't you pick the Bible up and read it? Well, now we've got in our societal norm, we also have a negative thing posturing about the Bible.
Okay.
That runs through the fiber of the system also.
That's true.
So for a lot of people, I don't want to say that they're giving an excuse. They're only fulfilling what they know from where they are.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to listen to you and I from this distance.
From that distance, okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
They're only going to listen to us from that distance, unless their heart and the eyes of their understanding are open to want to receive.
Okay. I mean, okay.
I mean, it's a. Let me put it this way. The end of days for mankind is not mine to call. It's mine to realize that I can be in a number in the end of days that is specific to a fulfillment of a covenant that the Most High has made to his people.
Mm-hmm.
I can acquiesce to that.
Sure.
Outside of that, the nations or the peoples that Isaiah writes about in chapter 2, I can't tell you, because now let me look at it this way. There's no way in this world a person can make me believe that my father was not a good person when all of the fruits that define him are defined by people who knew him, that Brother Bob was a good man. Even to the point that being, and the other thing you've got to realize is that you and I have been we're being raised in a different generation than our ancestors.
True.
The knowledge that you and I have was not knowledge that they had.
True.
Our ancestors were influenced by a Roman Greco theological concept of God, and they walked with the Most High based upon that concept as to how they define what holiness was. They have no idea. They have no clue about mitzvot and commandments. For them, they have 10 commandments that are written in Shemot chapter 20. Right. That's it. They know that you're not supposed to sin, but they don't know that sin is defined within the construct of the mitzvot. They don't know that. Because remember, they're teaching on the basis of a philosophy, of a theologian, that the laws have been done away with, and that what you and I are talking about now is the construct of Judaism, which my dad would say, that's Judaism.
Okay.
Because that's what his understanding is, and that's what his understanding has been from, based upon his generation.
Okay.
You and I live in a different generation of time. But now, with that being the same, the thought process of the older generation still flows into the generations that come after it.
Okay.
And young people and sons and daughters still have the same generational theological thought process. You and I understand Scripture much better than they do.
Sure.
Because we are part of the opening of the book of Daniel and the age in which that knowledge has increased.
Mm-hmm.
So nobody can tell me, oh, my father wasn't a good man. No, he was benevolent. He was kind.
Yes.
He taught what he knew holiness was. He didn't have nothing else to go by.
Okay.
His library was filled with Jameson and Clark, Matthew Henry. You know, those are European commentaries with European teachings. That's where he got his understanding from. And he was a very smart man.
Mm-hmm.
So you look out there and you see you have people, even in Christian churches, you know, they're teaching from a Eurocentric Greek mindset because that's how they were raised. That's what they know. That's what they've heard. So, you and I come along, and now we're talking about, well, but you're using our scriptures. Yes, but you see, I've always been taught. I've been taught that your scriptures are simply a springboard for me.
Sure. Sure.
I'm not doing any come on, expository
yeah.
teaching on this.
Mm-hmm.
And if I am doing an expository teaching, I'm doing it absent the mitzvot because I don't even know they're in play.
Yeah.
So with that, I can define myself based upon I'm a good person.
So one could say, by definition, if I'm hearing you correctly and listening to you, that there are two definitions of what good is.
Yeah.
Societal norms.
Yep.
And those that are defined by where we are in text.
Yep.
And because society puts a framework on what man believes is good, and the fruit that comes out of it, ethicals and moral things, we can define it in that particular that particular framework. So okay,
hasn't this guy gone away yet?
He's still. What is he saying now?
Oh, okay. Yeah. So you know.
We're gonna have to deal with that, you know, what more in the future.
What?
Folks that are you know.
Yeah, but I need somebody to kick him out. So I have people around me that are good people. They're benevolent people. They love humanity, and they do things that are kind towards those who don't have the wherewithal to do for themselves.
Mm.
But they have a very difficult time with anything that looks like, smells like, or acts like religion.
Pin in that. Let me reframe this. That person is a good person. Would you still call that person righteous?
No.
So that's where I think in this conversation, being it's cathartic and actually getting it out in the open and having some transparency here.
There's a difference.
Where I'm going to change.
Yes.
Where I'm saying in my semantics to say that my definition of good is through the guise of what's in the text, but really what the vernacular that should be used is
Yes.
righteous.
Yes.
You're not
Yes. You're
righteous,
not righteous.
In the sight of
Right.
the Most High, but
Right.
you're a
But
good,
you're
person.
Yes. Yes. Now we've come. I should have picked that up earlier.
But now, because I'm thinking what's good and righteous, I'm using those synonymously.
They're not.
And they're not, because we have to include what you've eloquently put. And this is a great path that we walked tonight to get here, is to say that we have to deal with the cultural norms of what good is,
Yes.
as it's defined by
Yes.
our society.
And
if we stay there, then we
And that's a measure. That's a measure that the Most High is going to use when He brings the nations with us into the redemptive period.
Got it. Okay. Yeah.
Because He realizes, the prophet is telling you, I realize that peoples, he didn't say Israel, he said peoples.
People, right?
He could have said Israel, but he doesn't say Israel. He says peoples. Peoples will say, let us go up to Jerusalem, for the Torah of the Most High is being taught there. Who are those peoples? Those peoples are going to be peoples like my father, like my mother, that when I sit down and I explain to her,
Right.
and I've told her, she's heard it, she's got the cognitive, she says, I don't have the experiential, I was never taught this.
Okay.
I'm 111. I was never taught this. So what am I going to hold on to? I'm going to hold on to what I was taught. I hear you. I see it, but we were never taught this.
Got it.
So I'm going to hold on to what I was taught.
Got it.
Now, with this goodness and this graciousness and this kindness, and here's another thing that has to be brought into this equation. And that is the heart that the people have for the love of God. Because that's all they know is God. They don't know Yahweh. Yahweh's never been taught to them, not in their Bibles. Pastors today refuse to even speak Yahweh's name in their pulpits.
That's a good point.
But they know. I said, so Yahweh, God. Well, God who? Well, the Creator who has created all things. Well, I know that they're talking about Yahweh.
Right.
And they love God, Yahweh. There's no way He's going to kick those people to the curb.
Yeah. Because again, I think like you said, it's the measure of the heart, and it's explained very eloquently in the example that Shemuel, and even picking out King David when he proposes. All the sons come before Shemuel, and he says, "Hey, listen, I see the heart of a person, and all these people that have come before me are not it. That one over there is the one that I want. You see the exterior, I see what's in a person." So again, it's what's on the inside that the Most High sees. No, that's good. That's good because I'm using the word good. It's a way of reframing it so it's not offensive in my explanation and dissertation. Once I take a hard stance to say, okay, the measure of a person for me, I have to measure it through the eyes of the Most High and not societal norms of the culture. And once I do that, I can say, you're a good person, but you're not righteous.
Well, but the issue is, I never proposed to you that I was righteous.
There you go.
I never said I was righteous. I said I was a good person.
Right. That's right. No, it's good.
You're trying to map me into something that I didn't even bring into the equation. I just said I was a good person.
Which is what?
Now
That's
here's
great.
the issue. If I said I was a righteous person, now I've got to say, by what criterion do you make that claim? Because righteousness can only be established by the criterion that the Most High has established for a person, a individual, a human being to be righteous.
Right.
Society can't define you as righteous by the norms of society.
Society, yeah.
Righteousness can only be defined by the norms of the theology that the Most High has given to a nation of Hebrew Israel to teach the nations what righteousness is.
Right. Okay. Good. No, I agree. That cleaned that up for me. Because like I said, I'm postulating about this and I'm thinking, how in the world does this person say this when I know what good is? Good is defined by X. But we've through this discussion, it's cleared it up for me.
I mean,
which is helping out a lot.
I'm going to raise you from the dust, and when I raise you from the dust, you're going to realize how abhorrent you are, and how else you are. But I didn't say I was going to destroy you.
Very true.
And the abhorrence and whatever is based on the fact that you just don't know my ways. But I'm going to give you an opportunity in the land to understand my ways, and I've also established some criteria for that, and I'm telling you up front in Zechariah, out of the multitude that I'm bringing to the land in the millennial area, only 1/3 of you are going to go to the promised land. Because the other 2/3 of you are not going to get it.
Right.
But I'm going to give you an opportunity to get it.
Right. That's good. That's good. Thank you, sir.
To that I say to you, this has been Moreh Robert B. Holman Jr.
and Moreh Shawn Appleton.
And this has been
Hebrews in Exile. Shalom.
Please excuse the interruptions.